Can we show them how we make pulled pork? I think we can. Yeah, let's show. Fine. Well, hello everybody. It's good to see you. Let's make some pulled pork. This is a pork shoulder that I picked up from the local market. What I'm gonna do right now, I'm just gonna shred some of this loose fat on here. There's quite a bit on it. I mean, this wasn't a prime pork shoulder that I picked up, but it was just something quick that I saw out there, and I was like, you know what? I kind of want to make a video of this and kind of show my process here, not giving away too much, but kind of give you the basics. But anyhow, let's switch over to the presentation side here. And I noticed that the presentation side is kind of limited on fat cap coverage here, so don't have a lot in there. Oh, I'm trim this little piece off, but don't have a whole lot there, but I'm going to make it do what it do. For starters, what I like to cut in here are these little diamond shapes. These little diamond shapes on the fat cap side. And what that'll help do, once I get my seasoning out and start pouring all over the pork shoulder here, this actually helped the seasoning penetrate into the meat a little bit more and allow it to get more smoke in there too. So definitely get you some salt and all into those peaks and valleys there. And as you see, creates little diamond shapes here. Now, we're going to use some Honey Hog Barbecue by Meat Church. This is a really good seasoning to use. It definitely makes your product sweeter, also still give you that smoky taste here. So periodically I use it, and it's actually really nice to use. You can pick it up pretty much anywhere. As you see, just coat the meat side with much as you can. You can't really hurt the product with especially with pork with seasoning, so don't think that you're over seasoning it or not when you're really not. You'll see later on in the cook that sometimes you can use a little bit more seasoning. So here I'm just getting all the sides down packed here. Then now we're gonna focus on the presentation side. So that's your fat cap side. I normally leave that as the last thing to do, because when I put it out on the smoker, I want this side to be facing up. Now, in tradition of Meat Church, we're going to use some of this hog injection. Oh my goodness, I've cooked with this a number of times and it makes a hell of a difference. So you start off with a cup of your favorite liquid. You can do water. I typically use apple juice. Then you take a third cup of the hog injection and mix it up. Now, it does smell a little funny, but trust me, it'll work. Now, make sure you get your injector. It's pretty cheap for an injector. I think I've spent a couple bucks from this from the local market. And you're just injecting the meat everywhere you can, usually in a pattern all the way down. And just inject until you run out of injection. But make sure all of it gets in there. Now we got it out on the smoker here. And what I'm looking for, temps about inside, I want to say about 165, and internally in the meat, that's what I'm looking for. But most importantly, I'm looking for tenderness. Now make sure you spritz at least once. As I'm checking for temperature here, right here about 136 degrees, we're getting up to the point where I'm ready to wrap at about 165, but I'm just filling. I'm filling. So fast forward here, we're at about 160 and it is feeling buttery. See that there? So it's about ready for me to pull off and wrap. And that's the next step here. Next step, and that took about 6 hours. We're gonna get some brown sugar poured all over that presentation side. You see those diamonds just looking beautiful. Get some brown sugar, and then we're gonna top it with some Honey Hog Hot from Meat Church. That's another favorite one of mine here, and that's gonna give you some heat, but don't worry, it's not gonna be too hot. Sprinkle that on there, and then I'm gonna follow it back up with some more Honey Hog. Sprinkle that there. that nice and coated. And then we're gonna follow it up with a couple pats of butter. Typically do about 4 to 5, just depending on the actual size of the pork butt, and then we cover it up. And we're putting it back on the grill, on the smoker, until it hit about 195, 200, 202, but really just feel for tenderness. Now, through the magic of mystery, it is done. Make sure you let it sit and cool for 45 minutes before you pull this apart. So let's take that bone out of there. Let's see how tender that is. Oh my God, it looks good. Yeah, there it is. Ooh, that's clean. That's real clean. So now we're gonna shred. You should be able to do this with your hands if you did it right. It's tender enough. But that's why you feel around for that tenderness when you're probing it. Most folks tell you to make sure you cook at a temperature. Yes, definitely. You don't want to get sick. That's important. What you're feeling for is probe tenderness. When there's little resistance. And look at this. It just falls apart. Moist. Just beautiful. Now go back over it with some of the seasonings that we use for both. Trust me, it's not going to be too much. It's not, because the juices in there, they're going to allow that seasoning to penetrate properly. And just mix it. Mix it on up. I think we're about ready to eat here. And of course, it's Teffie approved. All right, folks. We'll see you guys next time.